prior to engaging with you, we had gotten to the point a year or so ago where we were starting to see stronger, faster growth. We didn't know exactly why, where that was coming from, what was contributing to that. And we didn't really understand whether or not we knew we were profitable, but we didn't know in what ways, across what elements of the business we were profitable. And so there was a lot of uncertainty around the financial fundamentals. And that was the state of the business.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name's Nate, as you probably already know, and today I am joined by Thomas Colbert, who is the co-founder of Roan Iris and has been a Future Ready CFO client for, I think, nearly a year now. Is that right, Thomas?
Just about. We're coming up on the anniversary.
We're coming up to 12 months. Well, why don't we get started here, Thomas? Could you maybe just introduce the brand and tell folks a little bit about what you guys actually do?
Absolutely, would love to. So myself and my wife, Nicole, founded this homewares brand about 16 years ago. And we are an e-com brand. We do also have a brick and mortar store here in Bozeman, Montana. And yeah, homewares, everything from kitchenware to storage baskets and candle sconces and everything in between.
And rewinding the clock here, going back a year or so before you and I met, can you tell me a little bit about where the business was at that point in time, and what are some of the things that you were struggling with back then?
Yeah, well, the list is long and probably don't have enough time for this call, but I will say that we bootstrapped this brand from the very beginning. We don't have any outside investors, really little debt to speak of, and very slow growth over the years. So my wife and I have been very, say, financially conservative and very reticent to spend money unless we could see like a direct and immediate ROI. And we didn't really understand whether or not we knew we were profitable, but we didn't know in what ways, across what elements of the business we were profitable. And so there was a lot of uncertainty around the financial fundamentals, and that was the state of the business.
And were there any specific things keeping you up at night at that point in time on the finances and numbers side?
Yeah, I would say everything. Yeah, on the finances and numbers side, just not really having any kind of certainty into what was going on with the numbers. We knew that money was going out. We knew that money was coming in, and that's pretty much all that we knew. So not being able to identify where the bottlenecks are, where the leakage might be, where there were opportunities to double and triple down, we had really very little visibility into that.
Okay. And what was it that made you go on the search for a CFO or some help with this? Why did you decide to do that after 10 or so years in the business?
Right. Yeah. No, it's a great question. So originally, we decided to go after a growth strategist before we decided to look for a CFO, because we knew that there was a lot of opportunity in front of us. We had, again, the growth up to that point of 15 years of business was primarily organic. And so we knew there was a lot of opportunity there, but we didn't know how to go about doing that. And so we engaged with a growth strategist, and what we soon discovered after speaking with them was that we would basically be opening up a whole nother path of complexity without actually solving the underlying problem, which we quickly realized was we just don't know what's going on with our finances. As far as the financials of the business are concerned, we're in the dark. And there really is not a responsible way to go about growth without understanding that. And so we kind of had like an epiphany, right, together collectively at this one moment where we decided, wait a second, we need to get a grip on that. And then that's when we decided we needed to go search for a CFO.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. And let's fast forward to today. I'd love for you to share some examples about some of the things that have changed in your business, whether it's revenue, margin, cash, profitability. Are you able to give us anything specific about what things look like today?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's just so many things. I'll try to tease out, I guess, the most salient ones for us. So it's very easy to look at the P&L and see whether or not you're profitable. Like, you've got your gross revenue, you've got your net, you got your operating costs, you've got COGS, and then you've got your net, right? But underneath all of that, there's this concept that we got exposed to very recently this concept of contribution margin, right? And taking out those variable costs out of your revenues so that you know truly how much cash resource you have to devote to your fixed costs and to really grow the business. And that's something that has only come about from working with you. And really, this has been, in addition to you solving problems for us and helping us in all these areas of the business, it's really been an educational experience. Like, we've really been going through, over the past 8 months, 10 months of working with you, of this boot camp, for this financial boot camp. And it's psychologically, it's really helped us out because it's given us peace of mind that we're starting to understand this stuff. We're starting to understand the business on a foundational level. So contribution margin would be one of those. And a corollary to that is how it's helping us approach areas of the business where it requires a certain amount of spend and commitment. Perfect example would be marketing and ad buying, right? That's a heavy cash outlay right there on a month-over-month basis. And so having more confidence in what we're spending that money on, because we know what the actual underlying contribution margin reality looks like, that has been, more than anything, just a huge deal for us and had a tremendously high impact.
And have you discovered any new things about your business that were wrong, or problems that you were perhaps oblivious to before? Have you uncovered new insights that you didn't have previously?
Yes. Well, so we have our direct to consumer channel, Shopify channel on our website. We also are on a marketplace with Anthropology and Urban Outfitters. And we've been on that marketplace for probably about 10 years now. And that's always been a high, well, at least in the early days, it was a high revenue channel for us. There hasn't been a lot of growth there. But it's always been very important for us. We haven't wanted to lose that revenue. It's been consistent and stable. But what we're finding is that, well, yes, you can look at the revenue you're getting from that channel and justify the work that goes into maintaining that channel by saying, hey, look, that revenue pays for this employee in the warehouse, or it pays for these other things, right? And you can do sort of a monetary fungibility analysis on that. But at the end of the day, what is it really doing to the underlying financial fundamentals of the business? Is it really profitable? And if so, to what degree? And what's the trade-off there with the expense and the cost that goes into it? So we're starting to question that, right? And it's starting to open up other ideas about other channels that we can focus on. Not necessarily that we need to throw that out, but that as we're expanding across different sort of marketing channels, different revenue streams, that we do so in a more cautious, deliberative fashion, so that we're always keeping that contribution margin front and center and the long-term play there as the North Star, so to speak.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful. And has there been any specific decisions that you have been able to make over the last year or so because of the financial clarity that we've built together?
Yes, actually. So a few things. Well, number one, we've been able to actually start spending on ad buying with a real marketing agency, which prior to October of last year, we'd never done that ever. And so after 16 years of being in business, to now do something like that, where we're now spending, tens of thousands of dollars a month on marketing spend, that's a big commitment, and it can be very scary. I think that were it not for having you in our corner, we probably would not have gone forward with that. And we're seeing the direct results from that commitment. And so far, very positive, right? And it's validating our brand for us, right? We're seeing the resonance in the marketplace in a way that we previously did not see. And so that's opening up all sorts of other ideas on how we can expand and grow. That's been huge.
Okay, good to hear. If you were talking to a founder who was making, say, $2 or $3 million a year in revenue, and they said to you, I can't afford a fractional CFO right now, what would you tell them?
I would say very simply, you cannot afford not to have a CFO, a fractional CFO. I cannot imagine our lives without a fractional CFO at this point, now that we've had one for the past 10 months. The value that I'm getting from our relationship with you is that we're actually able to see what's happening there. So we can identify a trend first, which we weren't able to do before. And now we can have a discussion around how do we actually respond to that trend. And that for us has been one of the most valuable impacts from our relationship with you. And
Okay.
outside of your financial knowledge and your, CFO brain, you also happen to be, and I'm going to, toot your horn here. You also happen to be a very great resource as a former operator yourself in how to respond to some of these things and how to move forward. So, and that is primarily because it's very, very difficult. Let me put it like this: very, very difficult as a founder operator, being as busy as we all are, right? Doing a million different things, being pulled in a million different directions. To number one, have the time to sit down and analyze and have that clear visibility into the financial fundamentals. But then also on top of that, it's very difficult and challenging to be able to make the right decisions, right, about the business, which can go a million different directions, if you don't have that visibility into that data and you don't have the roadmap that is built off of that data. And if you don't have that, you're making decisions in the dark and you could be bumping into walls left and right. You got to turn the lights on. And I think that's what a CFO does for you.
Perfect. Is there anyone that you would not recommend a fractional CFO to?
I honestly, Nate, don't know how to answer that question because I honestly feel like it's been such a great value to us to have a fractional CFO that I can't imagine a world without one. Maybe if you don't have a business.
That's a good answer, I guess.
Maybe if you've got a lemonade stand or something, like any business with any level of complexity really should have a fractional CFO. If you're not going to want to if you're not going to have one on payroll, right, in-house, and especially for brands, businesses like ours, we're in the like approaching the mid 7-figure range. There's enough complexity there where it doesn't make sense to not have one.
Fantastic answer. Thank you. What has surprised you most about working with a fractional CFO?
Well, it would be that there has been so much value on the emotional and psychological level as a business owner, operator, founder, and operator. We go through a lot, and it's great meeting other business owners and entrepreneurs because, you can share your war stories. And unless I say it's like being a parent, unless you've had kids, you don't know, you'll never understand what it's like to have kids. And there's so much about life that you will not truly understand because it's so transformative. Same thing with being an entrepreneur. Unless you've actually experienced what this is like, I mean, you go through the fire and you learn so much about yourself and about life and about your relationships with others through that experience. And what I did not expect to get out of having a relationship with a CFO is this almost like counselor-like relationship that we have, where as founders, as co-founders, we've now got somebody in the room that can help us slow down and cut through the fog of the chaos and have a clear, well thought out conversation around what's really going on, what are the opportunities, where are the challenges, and how do we move forward. And that has been such a huge psychological uplift. It's relaxed us, it's helped us breathe a little bit more, and that really contributes to enabling us to move forward more effectively. So that, more than anything, has been a surprise and really a welcomed addition to the scope of service.
Cool. Amazing. I'm glad to hear it. Well, this has been super helpful, Thomas. I appreciate you sharing all your thoughts and reflections here. Is there any last words or advice for founders who might be on the fence here and they're thinking, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, I'm not sure if I should go ahead? Any final words of wisdom you'd want to share with them?
Do your diligence, but do it. That's all I have to say. And, we did our diligence, and we're so happy that we chose you, Nate, to be our CFO. It's been fantastic working with you for the past 10 months. We're super excited about the future. with you and what's going to come from this. And we thank you for everything you've done for us. And I highly recommend anybody who's on the fence about it, just do it. You got to try things in this life. And, you're going to get a lot of clarity. You're going to get a lot of peace of mind, and you're going to get an actual, a roadmap upon which you can actually move forward in life and with your business. And I highly, highly, highly recommend doing it now and don't wait.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Thomas. Really appreciate you joining me today and the kind words.
Absolutely, Nate. Thank you.